What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a apple cider vinegar mouthwash. Today I actually want to talk about the two videos I posted up last time. There's two videos about Webpack, and I didn't even talk about why we're doing that anymore. So the reason why we're doing all of this is we're going to start deploying our app, even though it's not yet done. Okay, it is done in the sense of everything's working, but it's not done in the sense of styling. I haven't styled anything. I hope you styled yours, but I haven't. But it is done, so somewhat done. So we're going to, in these three videos, or from the last two videos from Webpack, from here on out, it's going to be about deploying our application, making it production ready, deploying it on Heroku and all that stuff, okay? So that's what we're going to be doing now. Now, in this video, we're going to be talking about actually putting this application, or the production of this application, into Express, because we needed a server to serve up the public folder, right? So that's what we're going to be doing. Now, like I said, we're going to be using Express. So let's get to that. Inside, I'm going to create a new file or folder called server. This is pretty much standard right here. You don't have to have server, but I like to have server just in case I would like to do different things inside the server. So inside the server, we're going to create a new file. We're going to call this server.js. This is going to be our file that renders up everything. Like I said, I like having an inside folder because in here, if you want more routes, you can have another folder for routes and all that stuff. So it makes it more scalable and more, I guess, neat in terms of folder structure, or the architect of how the folder structure goes. So in here, we're going to be using Express. First, we do need to download Express or install Express. So let's do that. Yarn add Express. And up here, we're going to do const const Express. Going to equal require and Express. Now, if you don't know anything about Express, it's just a framework for Node.js projects. This is a server. There's more servers than this, but Express is pretty popular. And I've already done a series on Express, so I'll have that on the icon on the top right or in the description down below, so you could take a look at it, so you can have more in depth. I'm not going to be talking about what Express is and like the whole depth of an Express. I am going to be talking about a little bit about it, but not to the. I'm not going to go into depth onto it. So if you want more information, I do have videos on that, and I'm going to link it. Don't worry about that. So check those out if you're interested. So, and we're also going to need the path, require path, and path is a built-in module, so we don't need to install anything for that. You already know. And down here, we're just if you mess around with Express, you already know what I'm doing. We're gonna set app equal to an Express, no, not export, Express instance. We're gonna start up Express, and down here, I am going to say const public path. And don't worry, I will explain what I'm doing in a bit. So we're doing public path, and we're going to be using path.join. We've already seen this before, because Express needs to know exactly what folder to serve up. When we want Express to serve up the public folder, now we can't just do the simple / and then go into that folder. We need to give it the absolute path of that folder, and that's why we're using path.join. So I'm gonna do _ dir name, and without the single quotes, just dir name. Nope. And second argument is going to be ... because we are inside the server folder, so we need to go out one at least, right? So that's going to be one argument, and the other argument is going to be, we're going to be searching for the public folder. Just like that. And actually, I could do those single quotes or double quotes. I'm just do singles like that. Now this public path variable has our absolute path going to the public folder, which Express needs. Now we're going to tell Express to use this public folder. So app.use, and we're going to use the express.static. We want to make this static. We want to make it a this is going to be the go-to folder, public path, just like that. Now I'm going to say app.listen, so that way it knows what port, giving it a port number, which we're going to listen on port 3000, and we're going to take it in a function. And this function is literally, I'm just going to say console.log. I'm going to just say server is running on port, and then we're going to have our, I'm going to say port, and it is common or standardized to actually use port. So we're going to create another variable right here. I'm just say const port, and we're going to set that equal to 3000 for right now, and I'm just say right here port. Now that we're using the Express public path, or we know that Express knows where the public path is, now we just need to tell it, hey, serve up everything from in there. Okay, so let me tell you, let me explain why we're doing this. So right now, if we do node dot, because we need node is to run this this file that we have, server.js. So we're gonna do node, and we're gonna go inside server. Why are we not going inside server? And we're going to run server.js. Now server is running on port 3000. Now if we open up browser right there, refresh it. I already had it open, but let's refresh it. Now if you actually browse around, you see that it is working. But the thing is, the problem is that if we have like a /add and we refresh the page right here, you're going to see that it's going to say cannot get add. And the reason why is because Express is looking inside the public path folder, which it is, but we don't have a folder or a file called add. And that's a problem, because now we're gonna have to worry about the /create, /edit, and all that stuff. So a way to get around that is saying that every time we're gonna tell Express, every time someone goes to a route, say /add, /create, it doesn't matter what route. Every time someone goes to another route, we're going to just serve up the index.html, because inside index.html, we have the bundle.js, which goes back to our React, and React, we have the route. You know what I'm talking about, right? And it'll figure out which path to take. So where are we? So in here, we're going to just say app.get. And to say that get everything is literally the star. So no matter what route they take, we're going to serve up the index. So we're going to say, rec res, and rec res request response, and right here we're just going to send the file index.html. Now we're going to use res to respond, res.send file, and send file needs the absolute path of what we want to send, which is the index.html. Now that actually lives inside the public. So we're going to have to do the absolute path of the public, which we already have, right? But we're going to do path.join. And the first argument is going to be the public path, since we already know where that is. And then the second argument is going to be index.html. Control save. Now if we restart the server, let's go back in here. Restart it, we should get everything's running again. So we go to home, everything's running, we go to add, refresh it right here, and you still see the add even though we refreshed it, which is awesome, which is what we wanted. Now that we have this simple Express server running, this is extremely simple, guys. Like this is the basics. This is yeah. Now that we have this running, we can actually focus on going to Heroku and actually deploying this application with Heroku. Now you can use whatever platform you want to actually deploy. I'm going to be using Heroku. It's free. So yeah. So if you don't have a Heroku, if you don't have a Heroku, what's it called? Account, you should probably log in. I do, and you might not see this. You're not going to see this if you have it. If you're just signing up, you're not going to see this. It's going to say get started and how to get started. Don't worry about that. Do not worry, because we're not going to be using this interface or Heroku's interface. We're actually going to be using the CLI for this. But if you don't have an account with Heroku, create one. It's free. Yeah, what we're going to be using, like I said, is the Heroku CLI. And I misspelled it, but fine. It's right here, the very first one, devcenter.heroku.com. And right here is going to tell you how to download and install. If you're using Mac, Windows, Ubuntu, it's going to tell you exactly all that. Arch Linux. It's pretty simple. So I did the Windows. So just install the CLI so that way we could use our command line to actually do all this stuff. Once you've actually installed it, you should be looking right here. I'm going to go to my terminal. Control C this, clear this, so that way we have more space. Now, let's actually make this a little bit bigger so that you can see what we're doing, right? So, okay. In here, let me do clear one more time. Okay, in here, what we're going to be doing now is Heroku -- version. Now, if this works for you, then that means that you have it installed on your machine, your local machine, which I do, as you can see right now. If you don't, you might have missed a step or something. You might want to retry to downloading it again, or actually rerunning your instances of your terminal, or just restarting your computer. I would try restarting your instances of the command line. If that doesn't work, restart your computer, and if that doesn't work, then you gotta re-download it. You might have done something wrong. So now that you have Heroku on your machine, we're going to do Heroku log in. We do need to log in. That's why you do need to create an account with Heroku. And for Windows, we do need it's going to tell us, hey, prompt is going to give us this. For Linux or Mac, it's going to do inside the terminal. You're going to put in your credentials inside the terminal. For Windows, it's going to bring you here. So we're going to just log in. Logged in. I'm already logged in. If you go back, you're going to see that, hey, we're logged in as webjourneywdj@gmail.com, which is correct. So now that we're authenticated, now we do need to create a Heroku instance or a Heroku app. So we're going to do Heroku create, and you could just press enter right here and it'll create a random name for you, or you could just type in the name that you want it to create. So I'm gonna just say budget snob, right? And we're gonna get budget snob as our name. Doing all that stuff, as you can see right here, we get our budgetsnob.heroku.com, and we also get the git.heroku.com budget snob. Now this is different. If you have added this to your GitHub repository, which I recommend highly to always update these things and post it up to your GitHub. If you did do that, you're gonna get two things. So if you actually do git remote, you're going to see Heroku and Origin. Origin is the GitHub, your personal GitHub, your origin of your GitHub account of where you actually down or uploaded this. And Heroku is its own GitHub or Git instance of GitHub, right? It's saying that, hey, you got two remotes. You got your remote, and then you got Heroku's remote or master, right? And if you want a little bit more detail, you could do git remote -v, and it'll tell you exactly what's going on. Hey, here's your two Heroku's Git repositories, which is the fetch push right here, and here's your personal one, which is mine, github.com, web.js, React, whatever, right? You already know where this is at. This is your personal one, and this is Heroku's. The reason why we get two, because Heroku uses its own Git to actually push their own stuff to Heroku, and so that way they figure out which applications to run or which applications to serve up. They're not going to be going inside your Git repository and then doing all that. No, they create their own, this is why they get two. So that way we could serve up on this instance of Heroku's Git. Now we do need to push our code onto the Heroku servers. This is just treat it as a normal Git. You do need to push it up so that way Heroku has your application. But before we do that, we do need to do a little bit stuff over here. Now, Heroku, when you start it up or when you actually push it up and you try to deploy it, is going to look for the start script on your package.json right here. The start script, which we do not have. The start script is supposed to say, hey, we want you to run node and then go inside server and the server.js. We want you to run this server.js, and it's going to look inside the package.json and the start script. So we do need to add a start script. So I'm gonna just say start, right? And we want to run node and then server/server.js. This is pretty awesome. But now there is another problem. Now, if you go to server.js, we are using port 3000, which is pretty static. Let's say port 3000 is already in use, and it's going to give you that error. So what we could do is say, okay, let's try 3001, but let's say if that's in use. You know what I'm talking about? It's going to get very hectic really quick. Now, lucky for us, when you actually run this, Heroku actually spins up a port number for you. So you don't actually have to worry about this. So it's actually called process.env.port. And Heroku assigns this port a number so that way we could actually use it. Now, let's say that obviously, I don't think you set your local machine to have a port number. So if it does not find this variable, well, that means that we're not inside Heroku's server. That means that we're on our local maybe, right? So I'm gonna just put an OR right here. God, put an OR right there. Or I'm just say use 3000. Just like that. So we're going to either use Heroku's port that it is assigned, or we're going to just use 3000 just in case this is not. Now, this is all good. Now, there is one more thing I want to do, and this is just in case you haven't done it already. So I've seen this a lot where people actually push it up to Heroku, and inside public, they haven't even pushed or done the prod for Webpack, which we all know that it's going to give us a bundle.js, bundle.js.map, the style.css, and all this. It's not going to give us all this, which Index actually uses, right? So Heroku actually does have a custom built script that we could actually use, and let's actually use it. And this is just in case. Now, if this is your own stuff, then you should already have it, built for production, which in that case you already have all these things. But just in case you don't, then you want Heroku to do that for you. Or if you're just lazy and you just want to push it up and you don't want to do that, you'll just make Heroku do it. So anyways, the command for that is Heroku dash post build. Okay, now there's actually two. Post build is going to run after all the dependency has been installed, and then pre build like that is going pre build is going to run before all of these dependencies are installed. I don't really find pre build very useful, so I use post build a lot. So post build, and we want to tell it, hey, we want you to run yarn run build, right? Because this is we're going to run this, which is for the production, and this is going to run. It's going to install all of the it already installed all the dependencies. It's going to run the Webpack configuration file and then spin this up for us, and then start up our server. Now, if you are running this right here, then you're going to want to ignore these 4 files just for safe measure. Now, if you're not running it and you're doing it beforehand, then you don't want to ignore these things, right? So inside .get ignore, I'm going to say public / bundle.js, right? This is the one we're going to want to ignore. I'm gonna do it 3 more times, and we want bundle.js.map. We want style.css, and then let me just copy this. Copy, paste, .map. Now we're ignoring all of these files, so these are going to be ignored once we push it up to the Heroku server. And well, in that case, we're going to be ignoring it in our GitHub as well. So I'm going to just control save this. Now with all this in place, we're actually ready to, serve this up to Heroku. Now we want to actually push all the changes that we've done into our main GitHub repository. So I'm going to do git status to see what we've done so far. I don't know why I did that. Git status, and you can see that we've modified git ignore package.json and actually added a new folder. And we're going to do git add everything. Git add .om, and then git commit -m add in server for Heroku, and then we're going to do git push. Now that our master has been updated with the latest codes of what we've done, we're going to actually tell Heroku, hey, we're going to push our master up to you or to your server for Git, and so that way you can start using that instead. So now we're going to do git push, and we're not going to be using our normal origin remote. We're going to be using the Heroku's remote. So Heroku, and we're going to do the master. And it's doing all of it. Great. It might take some time, so I want you to come back and when it's done and fill you in. All right, now it's actually done. It took a while. But one thing I do want to notice or tell you about is that don't worry about this compressing file. Some people actually freak out when they see this because it's a pretty big file. This is not our application. It's not going to be rendered to the user. This file is for the backend, the Heroku's instance, all that code to make it run that instance and actually serve up our application. This is for that backend stuff, not for our front end, which is, I forgot what it was, but it's a really fairly small file, right? And if you actually scroll up a bit, or I'm pretty sure you were seeing all these things when you were doing it. It says right here, build. It detected both the build and Heroku post build, and it runs everything before you do that. And then down here, see that installing, and then it runs your server run server, which I don't know where it's at right now. But anyways, everything is built. So if you do Heroku open, it should open up your file, and what do we get? We get budgetsnob.heroku.com, and you can see everything is running just the way we wanted it, which is pretty awesome, right? If you refresh, refresh, you should still get it. It's awesome. Now you have your whole thing running. Let me do it one more time on Heroku, which is pretty great. Now, just in case you actually do have a problem with this, you can actually go back in your console and do, let me actually clear this, what's going on. You could do Heroku logs to see what's going on. Okay, and it'll give you a full log of what's going on. Like right here, I have what people have been requesting. Only me, what I've been requesting, right? So anyways, if you do have an error, let's say you go to the I don't know, some git path, the /add and then something happens, you could just go to your Git Heroku logs, and it'll tell you right here what's going on. It's just this is just in case something does happen and you're having trouble debugging it. Well, here you go, Heroku logs. That'll give you everything that's been going on and what's happening. So that was it for this video, guys. We actually deployed our application onto Heroku, and this is basically it for this series, guys. Like, honestly, that was for this series. I mean, for Budget Snob, we went full deep. Like, this is not really a full deep. We still need to go over hooks. Like, that's a new thing that's going on. But the reason why I've been doing this is because, well, we really haven't. If you do run old code, or if you do get a job, most likely you're not going to be running or creating new components. Most likely you're going to be updating the older components. And honestly, the older components is not going to have hooks. You're going to be seeing what you've been doing here, and the static stuff, the regular stuff for without hooks. That's what you're probably going to be seeing, and this is why we've done this. Anyways, yeah. That aside, we are actually done with the series of Budget Snob. Now, we're still not done really with Budget Snob. We are done in the React or with the React stuff. Now we're going to actually get into Firebase. Yeah, Firebase, which is going to be pretty awesome, all right? And that's in the next series of React. We're still going to do about React, and we're going to be using Firebase with React, with Redux and all that stuff, but that's in the next series. But for this series of Budget Snob, in air quotes, we're done. Okay, we still need to do a little bit more things, but we're done. So that was it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Like if you learned something new, subscribe if you haven't, and if you like the content that I'm creating, please subscribe. It would help me out a lot, and leave a comment down below of what you thought about the video or what I could have done better for you guys. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next series or the next series of videos. Thank you.